right, so we back up in this thing. Press from the White House, quick briefing. Let's get straight into it.
Been very clear. The policy of this administration is that there are only two sexes, male and female. Pretty simple. Ryan Glenn.
Yes. USAID has gotten a lot of attention in the last couple of days with some of these bizarre things that taxpayers have been funding. Now it looks like there are a couple media outlets that have been dragged into this conversation as far as USAID funding as well. Does the president have any comment on that?
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort. Thank you. I'd like to give some love to the back row. I've heard that unfortunately they haven't been called on in years past. So Reagan, why don't you go ahead?
Thanks, Caroline. WHC announced that comedian Andrew Rosen, who has called the president a toddler with his pants pulled down, will be the entertainment for this year's Correspondents' Dinner. Does the White House have a reaction to this choice, and will the president be attending the dinner this year?
Certainly an interesting choice. I have the president's invitation on my desk. I have the invitation for myself on my desk as well. Haven't talked to the president about it. When he makes his decision, I will let you know.
Sounds like a probably
definitely
not
an interesting
to
choice
me.
for the comedian. I'll talk to the boss about it and see what we decide. Sure, go ahead. Yes.
On the executive order set to be signed today, you said that this will be enforced. Can you spell out for schools and the public how exactly the administration plans to enforce this, even at a local level? And on top of that, there are some rights groups who say that this could expose kids to discrimination. What is your response to that?
I think kids have already been exposed to discrimination, especially young women and girls who have been forced to shower in locker rooms with biological men, who have been forced to compete on playing fields with biological men, which is incredibly unfair and unsafe, and again, an incredibly unpopular policy with the American people.
That's one thing I never really understood people arguing. Is like, you for real want 14-year-old girls competing with 14-year-old guys who identify as girls? I've been sitting like this since I was 14, dog. Like, I don't think you would have wanted 14-year-old me competing against your 14-year-old daughter. Not in anything that required strength, speed. Like, it was up. So, allowing grown men to compete alongside other women, I've always thought it was asinine, and it's been going on since I was like 18, like, whatever.
As for the actions that this executive order takes, I already laid those out at the beginning of the briefing. I'm happy to give you a copy of this fact sheet so you can let your audiences across the country know.
What's the message to schools who don't comply with this?
They should, because it's going to be federal law in about an hour and a half. So your colleagues...
Yeah, you got an hour.
Thanks, Caroline.
To get used to
news. You talked a bit about Doge. Elon Musk is currently a, quote, special government employee who also owns companies that have billions of dollars in federal contracts. You said earlier this week that he has abided by all applicable federal laws, but what steps is the Trump administration taking to address that conflict of interest?
The president was already asked and answered this question this week, and he said if Elon Musk comes across a conflict of interest with the contracts and the funding that Doge is overseeing, then Elon will excuse himself from those contracts. And he has, again, abided by all applicable laws. In the back left, go ahead.
Trade advisor Peter Navarro, when asked about the External Revenue Service today, said, quote, we're going to collect a lot of tariff revenues, and we're going to get tax cuts out of it. Is it the official position of the White House that tariffs will lower taxes for Americans?
The president has always been clear that he believes tariffs are a tax on foreign nations, and he's committed to cutting taxes for the American people here at home. He also believes tariffs are a great revenue raiser for this country, and that's exactly why he has committed to the creation of the External Revenue Service, which I think is a phenomenal idea. We'll just go down the whole row. Go ahead.
Tom Bateman from BBC. Can you confirm that under the president's plans for Gaza, any and all Palestinians who want to stay in Gaza on their land will be allowed to do so?
I can confirm that the president is committed to rebuilding Gaza and to temporarily relocating those who are there, because as I've showed you repeatedly, it is a demolition site. There is no running water. There is no electricity. The president wants these individuals to live in peace. He is committed to doing that with this very bold new plan, and we will continue to keep you apprised of updates as we receive them.
That's not an answer.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. So now that the President Trump's policies are starting to take shape, how long will it take to cycle through and get something actual prices that Americans are paying to come down?
Prices at the store and at the grocery pump across the board, sure. Well, the president is doing everything he can, obviously, to reduce the cost of living crisis in this country as quickly as possible. That's why he signed a litany of executive orders across the board. In the first couple of weeks here, he declared a national...
Have you heard of turtle traders?
That was a poopy way for the video to end, but there you have it. Latest from the White House. Trump wants to rebuild Gaza. He wants to charge tariffs to offset taxes. Musk is supposed to abide by all the rules that are applicable. And if he doesn't, or finds a conflict of interest, he should be removed. So we'll see. Everything should go just fine.